Hello students, welcome. We are going to start chapter 1 today. Alright, okay. This is a slide which is used by Ms. Zira, so we're actually sharing. There are some of my slides that she's sharing, so I take some from her as well. Okay, now next thing. For students in tutorial 1 and tutorial 5 for Monday, if you can watch this recording, it will be good. Then we can do the tutorial questions on Monday. But if you don't, because I am going to upload it today, Sunday. So if you don't see it, it's okay, right? We'll see what we can do on Monday. Right, so this is recording for Tuesday. Please listen to it from 2 to 3 p.m. All right, as usual, 3 p.m. to go in to Microsoft and then Teams, and then you type your name and ID and then you leave. Okay, so I'll let other students to do the same. Right, okay. And I will leave the team on until 3:45 to 4 o'clock. Because some students say, Miss, I tried to get in, but I can't because it's still full of students. So once you finish writing your name ID, you leave. All right, okay. Other students will come in and I'll leave it open until 3:45 or 4 o'clock. So you have enough time to put your name in for attendance purpose. Okay. All right. Now, another thing I want to tell you about Tuesday is that Tuesday I'm supposed to have a consultation hour. Remember, 3:30 to 5:30. Now, I am rescheduling it to a different day. All right, 3:30 to 5:30. I'm rescheduling it to a different day, which I will let you all know later. Okay. All right. The other consultation is open 2 to 4 on Wednesday. All right, okay, next. The tutorial 7 for Tuesday, right? Tutorial 7, which is from 6:30 to 8 p.m. All right, even that I'm rescheduling only for this week. Okay, only for this week. Again, tutorial 7, 6:30 to 8 p.m. I'm going to have to reschedule it. All right, to some other day. I'll let you know there are about 35 students there. All right, only for this week, only for Tuesday, coming Tuesday, which is 11th of May. All right, okay, so I'll let you know to which day to be rescheduled to. Okay, all right, so let's start. So this chapter 1, I will divide it in two, right? Chapter 1 part 1, chapter 1 part 2. So because there is 7 lectures and we have 14 weeks, each lecture will be divided into 2. That's the normal practice lah. Alright, so let's see introduction to the concept of law in Malaysia. Okay, this is the objective that we're trying to achieve, define concept of law in Malaysia in relation to the state and the constitution. Write down, the state here is actually the country, Malaysia, right? Constitution, okay. Meaning of constitution is that it's like this. You stay in your house, right? Okay. And you have to follow what your parents say, correct? Yes. So, in other words, there is a constitution in your house. And the head of the constitution is your parents. You have to follow. Alright, okay. So, your house has got a constitution, which you have to follow. Okay, alright. Now, why am I explaining this? Some students have taken class, all right, and they've taken law. They know what this means. Some students are new, so I have to explain. Okay, so please be patient. So, constitution is something which is written. The law is written. Malaysia has got a constitution, written constitution. Who else has written? Which other country has written constitution? India has written constitution. Singapore has written constitution. So it's written in black and white. You can buy the Malaysian constitution book in the bookshop. Okay, what does it do? It tells you the rights of, if you are a citizen of Malaysia, it tells you your rights, what you can do, what you cannot do. Right? So it tells everything about Malaysia. Okay, all right, next. So we need to study about what is law, what is the meaning of law. Law in relation to justice. What is justice? Justice is what is right and what is wrong. Okay, law and ethics. Ethics is to do the right thing. All right, meaning if you're a lawyer, all right, you must follow ethics. Okay, meaning you cannot take money. If you're doing some case, you cannot take money under the table, all right, and be in favor of some people and not the other. Those are ethics. Okay, right. Rule of law. Rule of law, write down, this is a concept. Rule of law is a concept, okay, that in every country, the law must rule, okay. You cannot have a country where there is no law. If you don't have law, then it's dangerous, okay. Why is it dangerous? That means if Malaysia doesn't have law or doesn't have a rule of the law, anybody can walk into my house and take my things away, all right, because there's no court, there is no law, yeah, there is no police. Law dictates that there is police, there is parliament, right, there is what, court to give judgments. So every country must have law and the law must rule. Okay, all right, so like that. Okay, next, law, the state and the constitution. Okay, so we look at law in Malaysia, then we look at what is a state, and then we look at classification of law, which is 3 different classification. Law in Malaysia is classified into 3 categories: public law, international law, private law. These 3 things. Okay, all right, let's next. This is the definition of law. Please write down definition of law. Okay, definition of law. Meaning of law. Law is a means of device to regulate economic and social behavior. Okay, law is there to make sure economy and people behave correctly, right? So social behavior means how people should behave. Yeah, all right. So if you walk on the streets, people shouldn't take a stick and beat you. That's bad social behavior, lah. All right. Okay. Next, aims. Law aims to preserve the economic and social welfare of our society. Right. So we already know what economic is. Social welfare. Social welfare means the law also takes care of our welfare. Right. We have medical benefits, right? The country takes care of you, right? And there is law put in place, right? To take care of the society and the good of the society. For example, like criminal law, so that nobody will break into your house and steal your things. That is what law is. Please write down, this is the definition over here. Definition of what is law. You may need to put that down in your answer. Okay, so law is needed to regulate and control affairs of society. Law regulate means to control. So you need law to control a lot of things in the country. Otherwise, as I mentioned, it will be haywire. Right? Okay, there will be no control of the society. Okay. So everybody will be doing their own things, and there's no police. There's no, very chaotic lah. Law is a regulatory device providing mechanism for society to function through tools such as legislation and case law. So law regulate the society, regulate you and me. Okay. So how they put the law, they make the law, right down. Parliament, legislation is law made by parliament. Legislation is law made by parliament. right? And case law. Case law, write down. Case law is from the court. Case law is from the court, right? Where what happens now? In the court, when the judge gives a decision or when the judge makes a decision, that becomes law, from the case. Okay, so who goes to court? Two people, right? Normally, when two people are fighting, right? Okay, so these two people go and see the judge and say, oh, this fellow did this, that fellow did that. Okay, so when this thing happens, the judge will apply the law and make a decision. When he decides, all right, that becomes the case, that becomes the law. Judge when he gives decision. Okay, so this is court, right? And this is law made by parliament. Right now, law made by parliament. P-A-R-L-I-A-M-E-N-T. Law made by parliament. Okay, alright. Law also guarantees our freedom. Yes, freedom meaning we can walk on the street without fear. Alright. Enables free enterprise, meaning you can do your business freely. Nobody can stop you. Right? And provides a means to settle dispute amicably. So law also helps you if you have problem, right? If you have a dispute, it can be settled very easily in a friendly way. You take it to court or you take it to arbitration, right? Because there is law will be applied and hopefully you will get a good judgment and you will get the money you ask for. Not full. Normally you won't get full, you will get a certain percentage. Okay, right, this is definition. Normally you put this in the introduction of your question. Yeah, alright, so you need to put down here introduction. Alright, thanks. So continue on with your introduction. What is law? Now, to be more precise, right? It is a set of rules that regulate interactions that people have with each other and which sets standards of conduct between individuals and the government, which are enforceable through sanction. So what does this mean? This means that, okay, law is a set of rules, okay, that takes care of problem between people and people, individual and individual, and also between individual and government, okay, right? Conduct between individuals, meaning two individuals, and between individual and government. Okay, all right. So then if there is a problem between two individuals, say two individuals sign a contract and they're not happy, right? Okay, so they go to court. And what will be applied is law of contract. Okay, individual and government. Okay, say somebody, one individual killed someone. Okay, so the government will bring an action through the police, okay, on this individual. Correct. Okay, so if all is good, fine. They find a solution between these two, individual and government, find a solution, good, solved. If a solution is not found, right, then you will be given a sanction. That individual will be given a sanction. Sanction is punishment, right down, punishment. P-U-N-I-S-H-M-E-N-T, punishment. Okay. To the layman, law is understood as being a general rule of conduct. Okay. To people on the streets, those people who don't know anything about law. So when you ask them, they say, oh, it means that it's something we have to follow. Right? And then the Oxford Dictionary explains law as the body of enacted or customary rules recognized by a community as binding. So this is what Oxford Dictionary says about meaning of law. Right? Oxford Dictionary says law means the people must follow, alright, these practice, customary practice, and the people must find it that it is binding. Binding means if they don't follow, they get punishment. Oxford English Dictionary. So why are we studying all this? Now, in your introduction, after you have written what is law, you can say, continue on and say, however, the Oxford English Dictionary defines law as la 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 la. That's why it's here in the slide. Okay, right? Just giving you an idea. Okay, next. Continue. So, same with this slide. Sir John Salmon is saying something about law. John Austin is also saying something about law. So these two also you can put down in your introduction. Right? Further to that, you say Sir John Salmon, alright, who wrote the book Jurisprudence, defined law as the body or principle recognized and applied by state. State is the country in administration of justice. Got it? And then John Austin. John Austin is very famous. He's no more. He's not alive. But this guy is very famous. He's written a book on law. The book is called Province of Jurisprudence Determining. And he said law is a command set by a superior to an inferior, enforced by sanction. So what he said is very true. I totally agree with him. And normally I will quote him. So let me explain. He says that law is something set by superior. Now write down, superior here means government. They're superior to us, right? Government. Okay. To an inferior. Inferior is we, the people. Write down, we, people. And enforced by sanction, punishment. So what it means is that government makes the law and we inferior being must follow. If we don't follow, we get punished. If we don't follow, we get punished. That's all. Can. Okay. So again, government makes law, we have to follow. Alright. So if we don't follow, we get punishment. Alright. Punishment, the word they use is sanction. Okay. That's all. So you can write this down and then you can explain. Example I give you. Right. Next. Okay. Still a lot. Now coming to the term law. Law is defined both by Article 160 sub 2 of the Federal Constitution and Item 43C of Section 2.1 of the Interpretation and General Clauses Ordinance 1948. Okay, to include. So, Article 160, please write down. This article is part of Federal Constitution. Alright, it's part of the Federal Constitution. Remember just now we studied Constitution? Yes, the Malaysian Constitution is called Federal Constitution. And it was written in 1957. What happened in 1957? Yes, Malaysia attained Merdeka. Alright, so in Federal Constitution, you have Article 1, Article 2, Article 3, right up to Article 160, it goes right up to Article 300 something, 400 something, okay? So Article 160 sub 2 says that, okay, law in Malaysia, there is 3 law in Malaysia. Alright, it's divided into 3. Okay, number 1 is written law, meaning the law is written. Okay, now where can you find written law? Who does the written law? Is the Parliament. Write down, Parliament does the written law, or produces the written law, or makes the written law. Is the Parliament. Okay, alright, write down, okay, written law. So this written law is in black and white. It is printed in books, right? For example, law of contract. Law of contract is written law. Alright, it's passed by Parliament in 1950. Okay, it's in a book. Yeah, it is in a book. So you can buy the law of contract. Right, I normally download and give it to the students lah. You need to buy lah. Okay, so there you are. The next type of law is common law. Common law insofar as it is in operation in the federation or any part thereof. So what is common law? Now, this one a long explanation, a long explanation. So I'm going to explain to you now. What is common law? Malaysia practices common law. Now, common law is like this. Malaysia was formerly a British colony. Correct. Meaning the British came here and took care of Malaya, alright, okay, and made school, set the government system. So Malaysia is a country that follows British system. Okay, for all of those of you who don't know, so Malaysia follows British system. Now, the British system, especially the law system, okay, is common law, right? Common law. Now, common law is not written law. Common law, write down here. Common law is not written. It's not written. Okay, again, common law is not written law, right? Okay, so it doesn't matter. You just follow the lecture. If you have questions, then you can ask during tutorial. You jot down and then you can ask me. Okay, so coming back to common law. Common law is everything else besides written law. Written law, yes, you have. Everything else is common law, which is not written. Okay, now the UK has got all this, a lot of law which is not in black and white. Okay, all right. For example, you see the court law, court in the court, the judge, that is common law. Because you can't find it in one book and you can find it in the court website. That is common law. Okay, so common law is also law because it's passed by the judge. Okay, so it's got all these components lah. Common law, something which is, of course, the judgment is written, but they are not compiled together. Right? They're everywhere. You can find it in the court website, you can find it in the book, but it's not all together in one place. Because why? Later we'll study the court system. Court system, we've got so many courts. We have Supreme Court, we have also, what do you call that, High Court, we have magistrates, we have so many courts and so many cases. The judge passed the law. Okay, so we also follow British system. We have is a common law system. Okay, insofar as it is in operation in federation. So far as we can apply that law in Malaysia, we can use it. Some common law we cannot apply in Malaysia. Doesn't fit us because it's British. Normal. Okay, alright. Later when we do the questions, you'll see. Okay, next. Any custom or usage having the force of law in the federation. Federation here means Malaysia. Okay, custom. Now, here is something very funny. Students always laugh. Okay, so you may be laughing at home when you listen to this lecture. There are some custom which has been practiced for many years in Malaysia, and the court recognizes it. Yes, for example, in Negeri Sembilan, right? In Negeri Sembilan in Malaysia, for foreign students, it is a state in Malaysia next to Melaka, right? So in Negeri Sembilan, they have the Minangkabau law, or the Minangkabau practice, rather, Minangkabau practice. Now, that came from Indonesia. You see, that part of Negeri Sembilan near Melaka is very close to Sumatra, isn't it? It's very close to Indonesia. So the boat people, right, many years, centuries ago, they came across and they stayed in Negeri Sembilan. So they've brought together with them their custom and their culture, right, and they practice it. So they practice this Minangkabau, right, Minang, I think. So what is the thing there? In Minang, right, law, the woman in the family is the head of the family. The woman in the family is the queen, right? So she's the head of the, like normal every other family, the man is the head, right? Yes, but for Minangkabau, I think for this one, it's the woman is the head. Now, if there is a divorce case between this Minangkabau family, right, divorce case, if it goes to court, the court will listen to their law, to their practice, what has been practiced, right? The court will probably have some special judge to take care of that case, and it is recognized by the law, recognized by the court. Okay, so in total, in submission, right, you have three types of law in Malaysia. One is written, one is common law, one is custom, which is recognized. Okay, all right. Okay, next slide. Slide number 8. Now we come to cases. Cases are the problems between two people, which is heard by the court, right down court. C-O-U-R-T, court. Okay, right. Let's take a look at our first case. Dana harta urus sendirian Berhad versus we normally Americans say versus, British say and. So British would say dana harta urus sendirian Berhad and kekatung case. Okay, so you can use anything you want, right? So versus kekatung sendirian Berhad. So this company and this company are fighting about something or the other, alright, and they take it to the court. Alright, so this is like this lah. Normally this person, the first name, is suing the second name. Alright, first name is suing the second name. So this person is called plaintiff, this person is called defendant. Right, so that is not important lah, right? So let me explain the case. So in this case, what happened is, right, there was an issue with common law, right? Something about common law. So the court said, meaning and application of common law in so far as it is in operation in the federation or any part thereof. So the court has to explain what is the meaning of common law. Okay, right? One party is saying Malaysia should not use common law, or in their case, only Malaysian law can be applied. It should not apply British law. Okay, right? One party is saying. So the court said, you are wrong, right? The meaning and application of common law insofar as it is in operation in Malaysia. So if that British law is applied in Malaysia and can be applied in Malaysia and has been applied in Malaysia, then it is part of Malaysian law. So that British law must be followed. Okay, so this is what the case is about. Then we have another case, Sri Inai versus Yong Yit Sui. That means this person is suing this person. And we have another case. These two cases are same problem. Chung Kiao Bek versus Hotel Rasa Sayang Sendirian Berhad. And another. Okay, so Chung Kiao Bank is having a fight with Hotel Rasa Sayang. What is the problem here? Now, it is about development of common law in Malaysia. Again, they don't want to follow British law. Okay, right? Section 3 of the Civil Law Act 1956. This is Malaysian law, write down. This is Malaysian law. Right? Okay, so Section 3 of the Civil Law Act 1956 allows the reception of the common law of England in Malaysia, subject to the qualification that it may be lawfully modified in the future by any written law. So what it means is that, okay, there was a problem with the common law. Now, in these two cases, same, they don't want to use the British law. So, this law is passed by Parliament, Malaysian law passed by Parliament. Parliament says, following Section 3 of Parliament law, right, that Malaysia can use law from England. Okay, Malaysia can use law from England, right? And as time goes by, this English law must be modified, okay, must be changed in the future by any Malaysian law. So what it means is that, okay, fine, Malaysia is only now 60 years old, correct? Right? We are using British law for 60 years now after we got independent, correct? So it's still very new. So in a lot of areas, Malaysia still doesn't have their own law, our own law. We still have to use British law. But the court said here, the court said, we can use. Parliament says, Section 3 of this law, Parliament says we also can use. We use until we can change that law in the future. Alright, in future we must change the law to suit Malaysia as we go along, and we will. Correct? So there you are. Okay, so this is what it means, these two cases. Okay, there's another case, as Kulasingham and another versus Commissioner of Lands. Right, in this case, the court said the legislature, write down, legislature means parliament. The parliament can by clear words exclude the principles of natural justice in the absence of specific constitutional guarantees. Now this case is a bit difficult for you, alright? Okay, so what this case says is that, right, the principle of natural justice, meaning what is right and what is wrong. Alright, so Parliament must use, right, natural justice, okay, if you cannot find any law. Okay, so in this case, something must have happened. Something must have happened about the common law. Some problem with the common law. Now, normally the problem is very complicated. So I don't bother to tell students. Students will get confused. So for your level, you're only studying business law. right? Okay, so or now business law is watered down to MPU, which is much more simpler. Okay, so you just remember there's some problem with the constitution. So in this case, the court said Parliament must use natural justice. Okay, sorry for that. In the beginning, it's a bit like this, but after a few tutorials and questions, after you get doing some questions and asking lecturers some more questions, that way it will clear your doubt. It won't be as difficult, right? Okay, it may sound a bit confusing. I'm also speaking slowly, right? I'm also not going to do too many slides for your first lecture, then you will be totally confused. Right, okay, so okay, let's see the next slide. Okay, so we passed that stage. So what did we study just now? Now what we studied is that definition of law. Write down number one, what we studied just now. Number one, we studied definition of law. What is law? Correct? Okay, and then we studied number two, we studied the what do you call that? What other people said about law, like John Austin, right, and all these other juries and all that. What Oxford Dictionary? What did they say about law? Correct. That we studied. Number three, the most important thing we studied is that definition of law in Malaysia. The definition of law in Malaysia. Federal Constitution was there in 1957, and it says that Malaysia got three types of law. One is written law, one is common law, and the other is custom. So there's three types of law in Malaysia. Okay, right. Okay, so we finished that now. That will be in your midterm, so you have to know Article 160. Okay, we'll do the tutorial questions, then you will see how to do. Okay, now let's move on. Law in relation to justice. This is more interesting. This is more light. Okay, now the connection between law and justice, what is it? Justice means to do the right thing, correct? So justice is to do the right thing. So how does law help this? Where does law come in? Think for a bit. Correct or not? So where does law come in? Yes. Law says law is there to protect everyone. Correct? Okay. Now, if somebody kills someone, the law will look for justice. How? Go to court. Okay. The judge will decide. Why did he kill? Like in America. Very good example. What happened in America for the past quite a few months going on now ended? George Floyd. The case of George Floyd. George Floyd was murdered by the police. Now, I can say this because the court case is over. Right? Okay, in the court case, the court found the police liable. Alright, okay, and also gave him judgment. So justice was found in George Floyd's case, right? Because they put whatever they did to him, I'm sure you already know, don't waste time talking about it. Whatever they did to him was wrong. If it was a white man, they would not have done what they did to him. So was justice found? Yes. How? The court punished the police officers who did all those things. They were punished. Alright, okay, so there was justice. Okay, so they followed the law, they followed all the legal terms and everything in the court. Okay, so justice is an abstract idea of right and wrong, fairness and equality. George Floyd. Now in your test or exam, you can give examples to show what is fairness, what is equality. You can use George Ford's case. Right. The aim of given law is to encourage the doing of what is right or just in a particular set of circumstances, to do the right thing, to do the correct thing. Okay, justice is what right-minded members of the community, that is those having the right spirit within them, believe to be fair. So justice is what we all believe to be something fair that needs to be done. Okay, alright, so there you are. Well, there's a relation lah. Alright. Next, continue. Law attempts to represent what society believes is right or wrong. Law protects the society. Okay. However, in its application to a particular set of circumstances, a law may not always appear to be just. Right? Okay, sometimes the law is there to protect the society, but sometimes it doesn't end up doing so. Can you imagine if that the police officer who murdered George Floyd, if he was not punished, then the law seemed to not have appeared to be just. Then justice is not served. Can you see that? So that is what it means. Huh? Yeah. Black Lives Matter. Okay, law and ethics. Right? Okay, law and ethics. So what is ethics? As I explained earlier, ethics means to do the right thing. Ethics normally is for business practices. Okay, right? Not just business, for lawyers, for doctors, for engineers. Okay, so the engineer cannot take money under the table and then build a bridge with cheap material. The bridge will collapse someday, right? So the lawyer was unethical. Okay, right? So let's see. So what is the purpose of law is to govern the conduct of all members of society, whilst ethics guides individual in ascertaining soundness of the rules and the impact upon relationship. So that's the difference. Okay, so this is the definition of ethics. Law and ethics, though of different concept, are often related. So that engineer who built the bridge with cheap product and the bridge collapsed, when the bridge collapsed, the law will punish him. Okay, so that's the relation. Right. Businesses often use legal standard in carrying out their activities and in decision making. Businesses also adopt codes of ethics or conduct. Right? So if you have a business, you have to follow code of ethics and conduct. Okay, now here is a concept, a rule of law. Now, rule of law is a concept brought about by A.V. Dicey. A for apple, dot. V for Virginia, right? State of Virginia, dot, Dicey. Yeah? I think it's French. Now, the rule of law involves the following three propositions. Now, Dicey said the rule of law has got three things. What is the meaning of rule of law? Rule of law means rule of the law. That means every country must have law that is being followed. Okay, alright. So example, let me give you an example. Now sometimes on Friday, right, you see cars being parked on the road, say maybe outside a shopping mall, right, or a Saturday outside the shopping mall, they park the car indiscriminately and other people have problem driving past that area. Those kind of things is where there is it is as though there is no rule of law. right? By right, you shouldn't park anywhere you wish. You have to park in places where it's designated for you to park your car. Alright, then what will happen? You will get a ticket from the police, right? So that's example. So what did Dicey say? A rule of law has got three components, proponents or proposition. Number one, he said no person must be punished except for a breach of law. So number one, Dicey said the rule of law means, right, no one should be punished, unless they break the law. Breach is they break the law. Okay, so if you break the law, you must be punished. Example, like if you steal something, you must be punished. Correct? Number two, Dicey said, all persons are equal before the law, irrespective of status or position. So Dicey is someone who lived in the 16th century. I think 16th or 17th century. A long time ago, right? So at that time, he mentioned that everybody's position and status is the same in law. Meaning, if you're the prime minister and you break the law, you must be punished. Okay, for Dicey, everybody is equal. Alright, okay, but today in Malaysia cannot apply that. The king and the queen, they are of different stature. Alright, prime minister can come under our category, but the king and the queen cannot be touched. Okay, and then number three, the rights or freedoms of citizens are enforceable in the courts. So Dicey said, if you have a problem, you must be able to go to the court and sue someone. If you have a problem with someone, you must be able to enforce your case in the court. Alright, so this is what Dicey said about rule of law. Okay, it's a concept. Today, a lot of things have changed. But Dicey said these three things are the, cornerstone of a good government. If you can have all these three in the government or in a country, then it is a perfect situation. It is a perfect situation. However, today there are a lot of negative in all three. So we cannot have a perfect situation today, right? So this is what it is. So normally you have to give examples, argument, okay, right? You can find all this on the internet. You can find in the textbooks, right? History book about Professor A.V. Dicey. Alright, rule of law. It's very famous. Every law book will have about rule of law. Okay. Okay, no one is above the law. The law is here. Us. Alright, the law is the highest. That's what Dicey said. Highest. We're all below. The law is like the king. The rules. Okay, next. Alright, so this law state, this one is already separate. Okay, it's a separate topic. Now I'm going to stop here. Okay, because it's 50 minutes. 50 minutes we've done this. So, as I mentioned, each lecture will be divided in two, like lecture 1, introduction, part 1, introduction, part 2. Okay, so some of the lectures are short and be finished in one lecture. So, because we missed one last week, right? Normally week 1 we don't do anything much. Okay, so I'm going to write down now to stop at slide 14. Okay, 14. So for next week, the recording will be slide 15 onwards. Okay, MPU 3363. Alright, okay, once again, so for this recording is for 11th Tuesday. which I will put down afterwards, after I download. So on 11th Tuesday also, the consultation 3:30 to 5:30 has been rescheduled, and also tutorial 7 6:30 to 8 p.m. has been rescheduled. All right, I'll let you know when is it rescheduled to. It's not cancelled, it's not cancelled. It's just being rescheduled. All right, okay, only tutorial 7. Okay, 6:30 to 8 p.m. All right, thank you very much, and I'll see you when I see you. Bye.